Hey, today I'm about to blow your mind with something that ancient civilizations died protecting. Ever notice how 7 shows up everywhere in your life right before something major happens? Or why certain numbers just feel heavy, like they're carrying a message? Ancient Egyptians built the pyramids using ratios that mirror your DNA structure. Native Americans saw numerical patterns in everything from buffalo migrations to star formations. Hindu sages calculated cosmic cycles that modern astronomy is still catching up to. These weren't separate discoveries, they were all reading the same cosmic blueprint. Think about your own life for a second. That house number you drove past every day before moving there. Your wedding date that somehow aligned with a family pattern going back generations. The way certain prices, times, or dates make you pause and think that's interesting. Your brain isn't making this up. Scientists recently discovered that everything from flower petals to galaxy spirals follows something called the Fibonacci sequence, a mathematical code that mystics have called God's signature for centuries. So while everyone else dismisses these patterns as random, you're actually tuned into the universe's operating system. And once you understand how to read these signals properly, everything starts making sense. Ready to decode what the numbers in your life are really telling you? Drop a comment if you've noticed these patterns too. I read every single one. Ancient roots of sacred numbers. Picture this. You're holding a string of 108 prayer beads, the same number that NASA uses to calculate orbital mechanics. Coincidence? Not even close. What I'm about to share with you will change your belief system about why certain numbers feel sacred to your soul. See, there's this underground current running through every major spiritual tradition on Earth. And it's all about numbers being literal gateways to divine consciousness. The ancients weren't just playing with math. They discovered that specific numerical sequences could actually rewire human awareness and connect you directly to cosmic intelligence. Let me paint you a picture of what was really happening in ancient Greece. When Pythagoras declared all is number, he wasn't being poetic. This man had unlocked something terrifying to the religious establishment. He proved that reality itself operates on mathematical frequencies. His students didn't just study geometry, they underwent spiritual initiations where numbers were revealed as the actual thoughts of the divine made manifest. They discovered that every emotion, every spiritual state, every level of consciousness has its own numerical signature. But here's where it gets mind-blowing. Halfway around the world, Hindu mystics were making identical discoveries. They found that 108, the number of beads on a malz, isn't random. It's the numerical representation of cosmic completeness. The distance from Earth to the Sun divided by the Sun's diameter equals 108. The distance from Earth to the Moon divided by the Moon's diameter also equals 108. When you chant with 108 beads, you're literally synchronizing your consciousness with the mathematical harmony of the solar system. Now, let's talk about something that'll give you chills. In Jewish Kabbalah, they discovered that Hebrew letters are actually numbers in disguise, and when you decode them properly, they reveal the hidden names of God. Every word in sacred texts becomes a mathematical equation that unlocks different aspects of divine consciousness. Think about that. Language itself becomes a numerical prayer. But the Mayans took this even further. Their calendar system, using cycles of 13 and 20, wasn't about tracking time. It was about mapping the rhythmic patterns of cosmic consciousness. They discovered that reality pulses in these specific numerical rhythms, and by aligning with them, you could predict not just eclipses, but the ebb and flow of human spiritual evolution. Here's what's absolutely wild. Modern neuroscience is now proving that your brain literally operates on these same numerical frequencies. When you meditate with sacred numbers, you're not performing some mystical ritual. You're activating dormant neural pathways that connect you to the same cosmic intelligence these ancient masters accessed. Every time you see 1111 and feel that jolt of recognition, every time a certain number pattern makes your heart skip, you're not imagining things. You're picking up on the same numerical transmissions that guided humanity's greatest spiritual breakthroughs. Your consciousness is hardwired to recognize these divine codes because you are part of this cosmic mathematical symphony. The ancients understood something we're just rediscovering. Numbers aren't just symbols. They're bridges between your human awareness and infinite consciousness. When you work with sacred numbers intentionally, you're not just believing in something, you're activating something that's been dormant in your spiritual DNA for lifetimes. So the next time you encounter these patterns, remember, you're not experiencing coincidence. You're receiving direct communication from the same source that taught Pythagoras, guided the Vedic sages, and whispered secrets to Kabbalistic masters. The 6 numbers that unlock your hidden spiritual powers. Stop what you're doing and think about this. Why does your heart race when you see 1111 on a clock, but 1047 means absolutely nothing? Your soul is recognizing something your logical mind hasn't caught up to yet. Certain numbers carry frequencies that unlock dormant spiritual abilities within you. What if I told you that every major spiritual breakthrough in human history happened when someone decoded the same 6 sacred numbers that are showing up in your life right now? These aren't just symbols. They're activation codes embedded in the fabric of reality itself. Let's start with the number that's literally built into your biology. 3. Your DNA has 3 base pairs. Your brain processes reality in past, present, and future. Christians worship a trinity. Ancient goddesses appeared as maidens, mothers, and crones. And every creation myth follows the same pattern: thought, word, manifestation. But here's what's incredible. When you consciously work with the power of 3, you're tapping into the same creative force that sparked the universe into existence. Think about it. Every time you make a wish and blow out birthday candles, you're performing an ancient 3-part ritual without even knowing it. Now, 4 is where things get grounding. This number doesn't just represent stability, it is stability. Your heart has 4 chambers. Every building needs 4 corners to stand. Native Americans recognized 4 sacred directions, 4 winds, 4 medicines, because they understood that 4 creates the foundation for all physical reality. When you feel scattered or anxious, you're literally disconnected from the stabilizing frequency of 4. The ancients knew that meditation in groups of 4 people amplifies healing energy exponentially. But 7? 7 is where the magic gets mystical. You have 7 chakras. There are 7 colors in a rainbow, 7 notes in a musical scale, and 7 days in a week. This isn't coincidence, it's cosmic programming. Ancient mystics discovered that 7 represents complete spiritual transformation. Every major spiritual tradition speaks of 7 heavens, 7 stages of enlightenment, because 7 is the frequency of transcendence. When you see patterns of 7 in your life, you're being called to a higher level of consciousness. Here's where it gets wild. 9 carries the energy of rebirth and completion. 9 months of pregnancy, 9 lives of a cat, 9 worlds in Norse mythology. But what most people don't realize is that 9 is actually 3 times 3, Trinity multiplied by itself. When you're going through massive life changes and 9 keeps appearing, it's not random. You're in a cosmic rebirth cycle, and the universe is confirming that you're exactly where you need to be for your soul's evolution. Now let's talk about the number that's probably brought you to this very moment. 11. When you see 1111, you're not just witnessing a coincidence, you're experiencing a portal activation. 11 represents the gateway between dimensions, the moment when your conscious and subconscious minds align perfectly. Ancient numerologists called 11 the master number because it amplifies psychic abilities and spiritual downloads. Every time you catch 1111, you're being invited to make a wish because the universe is literally listening more intently in that moment. And 12? This is the number of cosmic governance. 12 zodiac signs, 12 disciples, 12 tribes, 12 months, because 12 represents divine order manifested in physical reality. When 12 shows up repeatedly in your life, you're being called to step into a leadership role in your spiritual community. Here's what's happening to you right now. Your consciousness is becoming sensitive enough to pick up these numerical transmissions that have been broadcasting since the beginning of time. You're not going crazy. You're waking up to the same cosmic language that guided every enlightened being throughout history. Why the universe was built using secret mathematical codes. Right now, as you're listening to this, you're sitting inside the most sophisticated sacred temple ever constructed, and you don't even realize it. The room you're in, the device you're holding, even your own body are all built using the exact same numerical blueprints that ancient masters used to construct portals to higher dimensions. I'm about to show you something that will make you see reality completely differently. Every flower you've ever admired, every building that's taken your breath away, every natural wonder that's made you feel spiritually connected, they're all speaking the same mathematical language. And once you understand this language, you'll never look at the world the same way again. Let's start with something that'll blow your mind. You know that feeling you get when you walk into certain old churches or temples? That unexplainable sense of awe and reverence. It's not just the history or the atmosphere. It's because these structures were built using sacred geometry that literally resonates with your soul's frequency. Gothic cathedrals weren't designed by architects. They were designed by mystics who understood that specific mathematical ratios could elevate human consciousness. The builders of these sacred spaces discovered something incredible. When you arrange physical matter according to divine proportions, you create an amplification field for spiritual energy. Notre Dame Cathedral, before it was damaged, had dimensions based on the golden ratio, the same ratio that appears in your DNA, in galaxy formations, and in the spiral of your fingerprints. Walking into that space was like stepping inside a 3-dimensional meditation that had been resonating for centuries. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. Nature has been using these same mathematical codes since the beginning of time. Every sunflower you've ever seen has seeds arranged in spirals that follow the Fibonacci sequence, the same numerical pattern that ancient mystics called the fingerprint of God. When you feel drawn to certain flowers, you're literally responding to mathematical perfection made manifest in physical form. Think about this. Why do rose petals come in groups of 5, 8, 13, or 21? These aren't random numbers. They're all part of the Fibonacci sequence. Your subconscious mind recognizes this divine pattern, which is why roses have been symbols of love and beauty across every culture. You're not just admiring a flower. You're witnessing the universe's own mathematical poetry in action. And those ancient pilgrimage routes? They weren't just spiritual journeys, they were calculated activation sequences. Temples in India require 108 steps to reach the inner sanctum, because walking that specific number creates a rhythmic pattern that synchronizes your brain waves with meditative states. Every step becomes a prayer. Every number becomes a key unlocking deeper consciousness. Here's what's happening in your own life right now. You're surrounded by these same sacred patterns, but you've been trained to ignore them. That spiral staircase in your apartment building, it follows the same golden ratio as the Great Pyramid. The proportions of your smartphone screen, based on sacred geometry that monks use to design meditation gardens. Even your own body is a walking temple, built from these divine codes. Your arm span equals your height, the same ratio Leonardo da Vinci mapped in his famous drawing. The distance from your elbow to your fingertips equals the distance from your fingertips to your wrist. You are sacred geometry personified. But here's the really wild part. Modern scientists are discovering that these same mathematical patterns govern everything from quantum particles to galactic clusters. What ancient mystics called the mind of God is what physicists now call the fundamental constants of the universe. You're not just living in a world with beautiful patterns. You're living inside a cosmic temple where every measurement, every ratio, every proportion has been precisely calculated to support your spiritual evolution. The hidden truth about numbers that most people get completely wrong. 90% of people exploring spiritual numbers are accidentally limiting their own growth by approaching them from the wrong angle entirely. And I'm about to reveal why the way you've been thinking about numbers might actually be blocking the very insights you're seeking. See, there are two completely different ways to work with sacred numbers, and confusing them is like using a telescope as a microscope. You'll get results, but you'll miss the bigger cosmic picture that could transform your entire spiritual journey. Let me tell you a story that'll make this crystal clear. Last year, I met a woman who was obsessed with reducing her name to a single digit using traditional numerology. She'd calculated that her life path number was 7, and she'd built her entire identity around being the mystical seeker. But here's what was heartbreaking. She was so focused on that one calculated number that she was completely missing the profound symbolic messages that were flooding her life every single day. This is the difference between numerology and numerical symbolism, and understanding it could be the key that unlocks everything you've been searching for. Traditional numerology works like this. You take your birthday, let's say June 15th, 1985, and you reduce it down. 6 plus 1 plus 5 plus 1985 becomes 6 plus 1 plus 5 plus 23, which becomes 35, which becomes 8. So you're an 8-8 person. It's mathematical, systematic, and gives you a neat little box to live in. But here's where things get interesting. Numerical symbolism approaches numbers as living, breathing archetypal energies that flow through your life in dynamic, ever-changing patterns. Instead of reducing everything to a single digit, you start recognizing that different numbers show up at different phases of your spiritual evolution to guide, heal, or activate specific aspects of your consciousness. Let me show you what I mean. That same woman I mentioned, once she shifted from calculating her number to observing numerical patterns, everything changed. She started noticing that 3 appeared during her most creative periods, not because she was a 3, but because the archetypal energy of 3 represents creative expression and divine inspiration. When she was going through relationship challenges, 2 kept showing up everywhere, inviting her to explore balance and partnership. During times of major life transitions, 9 would appear constantly, signaling completion and rebirth. This is the profound difference. Numerology says, you are this number. Symbolism says, this number medicine is available to you right now. Here's what makes this approach so powerful. Instead of being limited to one calculated identity, you become fluent in an entire symbolic language that the universe uses to communicate with you in real time. When you see 444 on a receipt during a stressful week, you're not just seeing your angel number, you're receiving an invitation to ground yourself in the stabilizing energy of 4. When 1111 appears during a period of confusion, it's not predicting your future. It's offering you a portal moment to align your conscious and unconscious minds. But here's the beautiful thing. Both approaches can serve you, depending on what you need. Traditional numerology gives you a foundational understanding of your core energetic signature, like knowing your astrological sun sign. It's your spiritual home base, your default frequency. But numerical symbolism is like knowing your entire astrological chart. It shows you how different cosmic energies flow through your life as you evolve. Think of it this way. If numerology is like having one key to your spiritual house, symbolism gives you access to every room, every hidden passage, every secret door that opens as you grow. The danger comes when people use numerology like a spiritual straitjacket, thinking I'm a 7, so I must be introverted and mystical, instead of recognizing that they might need the bold leadership energy of 1 during career changes or the nurturing healing frequency of 6 during family crises. Here's what I want you to understand. You are not limited to one number any more than you're limited to one emotion. You're a complex, evolving spiritual being who can access the full spectrum of numerical frequencies as needed for your growth and service. The most spiritually mature approach honors both systems. Use numerology to understand your core spiritual signature, but use symbolism to stay fluid and responsive to the universe's ongoing guidance through numbers. Why your phone is actually a modern oracle delivering ancient messages. Your coffee cost $3.33 this morning. Your phone battery died at exactly 11%, and you've seen 444 3 times today. Random coincidences? Neuroscientist Dr. Michael Persinger's research at Laurentian University discovered that the human brain is hardwired to detect numerical patterns as survival mechanisms. But what he found accidentally was that this same neural wiring makes us incredibly sensitive to what Carl Jung called meaningful coincidences. Here's the data that changes everything. Your brain processes over 11 million bits of information per second, but you're only consciously aware of about 40 bits. That means 99.9% of the numerical patterns around you are being registered by your subconscious mind without your awareness. When certain numbers break through to your conscious attention, it's because your brain has classified them as significant based on emotional, psychological, or even quantum resonance. MIT researchers studying decision-making found that people consistently choose the same random numbers across different contexts. Lottery picks passwords, jersey numbers they're drawn to. Dr. Johanna Ohler's studies at Cambridge revealed that these preferences aren't random at all, but reflect deep psychological archetypes stored in what she calls numerical memory patterns. But here's where ancient wisdom meets cutting-edge science. Binary code, the foundation of all digital technology, operates on the same fundamental principle that Chinese mystics discovered 5,000 years ago in the I Ching. Every app, every website, every digital interaction you have is built from combinations of ones and zeros. The same yin-yang duality that ancient philosophers identified as the core pattern of existence. Stanford's AI Research Division published fascinating data showing that recommendation algorithms don't just analyze your behavior, they create feedback loops that actually influence your choices in ways that mirror ancient divination practices. When Spotify suggests a song that perfectly matches your mood, or when YouTube recommends a video that answers a question you were just thinking about, you're experiencing what computer scientists call predictive synchronicity. Dr. Dean Radin at the Institute of Noetic Sciences conducted double-blind studies proving that people can unconsciously influence random number generators, the same technology that drives lottery systems, digital clocks, and even the timestamps on your text messages. His research suggests that consciousness actually interacts with numerical randomness in measurable ways. Here's the psychological mechanism. Your reticular activating system, the brain filter that determines what information gets your attention, becomes programmed to notice specific numerical patterns based on emotional significance. Once you assign meaning to 1111 or 333, your brain starts flagging every occurrence, creating what appears to be increased frequency when it's actually increased awareness. But there's something deeper happening. Anthropologist Dr. Robin Dunbar's research on collective behavior patterns found that humans in digital environments exhibit the same synchronization phenomena that birds show in flocking behavior. Your numerical synchronicities might actually be manifestations of what he calls digital collective consciousness, shared psychological patterns expressing through technology. Consider this. Every time you unlock your phone, average 96 times per day, you're exposed to timestamps, battery percentages, notification numbers, and app badges. That's over 500 numerical data points daily entering your subconscious. Ancient oracles would spend months in isolation to receive fewer spiritual insights than you're potentially accessing through your smartphone every single week. The lottery industry has compiled decades of data showing that certain numbers get chosen far more frequently than statistical probability suggests. Numbers with cultural or psychological significance, 7, 11, 21, 27, appear in lottery selections at rates that violate pure randomness. This isn't superstition. It's evidence that collective human consciousness influences supposedly random number generation. Modern sleep researchers discovered that people naturally wake up at numerically significant times, 2:22, 3:33, 4:44, more often than random chance would predict, even without alarm clocks. Dr. Russell Foster at Oxford found that our circadian rhythms actually synchronize with numerical patterns that have cultural meaning, suggesting our biology responds to symbolic mathematics. GPS technology has created an entirely new form of numerical synchronicity. Traffic algorithms route millions of people daily, yet individuals consistently report arriving at destinations at meaningful times or encountering specific address numbers during important life transitions. Transportation researchers call this algorithmic serendipity, but haven't yet explained why these patterns correlate with personal psychological states. What's happening is that the same human capacity that once recognized seasonal patterns for survival has evolved to detect meaningful numerical sequences in digital environments. Your brain hasn't lost its ancient wisdom. It's adapted that wisdom to decode the mathematical language of modern life. The key insight: whether these patterns represent cosmic communication, psychological projection, or quantum consciousness effects, your response to them creates real neurological and behavioral changes that can enhance decision-making, reduce anxiety, and increase feelings of connection and purpose. What specific numerical patterns have you noticed influencing your decisions or emotional states? Understanding your personal pattern recognition could be the key to optimizing how you interact with our increasingly numerical world. The four-step system that turns random number sightings into life-changing spiritual guidance. You've been seeing the signs, feeling the pull of certain numbers, maybe even getting chills when specific digits appear at just the right moment. But here's the frustrating part. You don't know what to actually do with these experiences. Today, I'm going to give you a proven system that transforms passive number awareness into active spiritual communication. And the results might surprise you. Dr. James Pennebaker's research at the University of Texas proved that people who systematically track meaningful patterns in their lives show measurable improvements in decision-making, emotional regulation, and what he calls intuitive accuracy. But here's what he discovered accidentally. Participants who tracked numerical synchronicities showed the most dramatic improvements across all categories. Here's your four-step system for turning number sightings into actionable spiritual guidance. Step 1. The number diary method. Get a small notebook or use your phone's notes app. Every time you notice a numerical pattern that catches your attention, record 3 things: the number, the exact context where you saw it, and what you were thinking or feeling in that moment. Harvard psychologist Dr. Ellen Langsher found that people who maintained mindful awareness logs developed what she calls enhanced pattern recognition abilities within just 2 weeks. But here's the crucial part most people miss. Don't just record the number, track the circumstances. Did you see 222 right after thinking about a relationship decision? Did 555 appear when you were considering a career change? Dr. Richard Wiseman's luck research at the University of Hertfordshire proved that people who track context around meaningful events become significantly better at recognizing opportunities and avoiding mistakes. Step 2. Focused number meditation. When a specific number keeps appearing in your life, dedicate 10 minutes to what cognitive researchers call numerical contemplation. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and simply hold that number in your awareness. Don't force meaning. Just observe what thoughts, feelings, or images arise. Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Judson Brewer found that this practice activates the same brain regions involved in creative problem solving and emotional insight. Here's the practical technique. Visualize the number clearly in your mind. Notice its shape, its energy, any colors or sensations it evokes. Then ask yourself, what area of my life needs attention right now? Often, the number will reveal connections to specific challenges or opportunities you've been overlooking. Step 3. Intentional number repetition. Ancient traditions used numerical repetition because they understood something modern psychology has proven. Repetition creates what Dr. Robert Zajonc called mere exposure effect. Repeated stimuli become more persuasive and emotionally significant. When you repeat affirmations or intentions in specific numbers, 3 times for creativity, 7 times for completion, 9 times for transformation, you're not just performing ritual, you're programming your subconscious mind. But here's the key. Match the repetition number to your intention. UCLA researchers studying habit formation found that people who used meaningful numerical frameworks, like doing something for 21 days or repeating it 7 times, had 40% higher success rates than those using arbitrary numbers. Your brain responds differently to numbers that already carry archetypal significance for you. Step 4. Cycle awareness practice. Start mapping your personal numerical cycles. Track your energy levels, decision-making clarity, and major life events against weekly, monthly, and seasonal patterns. Dr. Russell Foster's Oxford research on chronobiology revealed that humans have multiple numerical cycles running simultaneously: circadian, 24-hour, ultradian, 90-minute, and seasonal patterns that directly influence cognitive performance and emotional states. Keep a simple log. Rate your energy from 1 to 10 each day, note major decisions or insights, and mark when significant number synchronicities occur. Within a month, you'll start seeing your personal numerical rhythms, patterns that can help you time important conversations, creative projects, and life changes for maximum effectiveness. Here's what makes this system powerful. You're not just passively hoping for signs, you're actively developing what Dr. Arne Dietrich calls enhanced pattern detection abilities. Your brain literally rewires itself to become more sensitive to meaningful synchronicities while filtering out random noise. But here's the most important discovery from implementing this system. People report that their number synchronicities become more frequent, more relevant, and more actionable within weeks of starting these practices. It's as if conscious attention to numerical patterns creates a feedback loop that enhances the phenomenon itself. Dr. Daryl Bem's controversial precognition research at Cornell suggests that human consciousness might actually influence the appearance of meaningful coincidences through what he calls presentiment, unconscious awareness of future significance. Whether you believe in psychic abilities or not, the practical result is the same. Focused attention on numerical patterns enhances your ability to make better decisions and recognize important opportunities. The key is consistency. Spend just 10 minutes daily on these practices for 2 weeks, and you'll likely notice a dramatic shift in both the frequency of meaningful number appearances and your ability to interpret their relevance to your life circumstances. What number has been appearing most frequently in your life lately? Try applying this system to it for 1 week and share what insights emerge. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to unlock their own numerical guidance system. Your numbers are speaking. Are you ready to listen? The universe is trying to reach you through the most ancient language known to existence, numbers. Stop for a moment. Think about the last number you saw before clicking on this video. Was it the time? Your phone battery? The views on this video? That wasn't random. Nothing ever is. You see, you've just completed a journey most people never even know exists. While millions scroll past the surface, you've discovered something profound. Numbers aren't just mathematical concepts. They're spiritual messengers, cosmic whispers, divine breadcrumbs leading you exactly where you need to go. Let me share something that happened to Sarah, one of our community members. For 3 weeks straight, she kept seeing 1111 on her clock, every single day. At first, she brushed it off as coincidence, but then she started paying attention. Really paying attention. She noticed 1111 on receipts, license plates, even page numbers in books she randomly opened. The moment she acknowledged this pattern, everything shifted. Within a month, she met her twin flame, landed her dream job, and moved to the city she'd been dreaming about for years. The universe had been calling her to align with her highest path, and 1111 was the signal. Here's what most people don't realize. You're not stumbling upon these numbers by accident. You're vibrating at a frequency that attracts specific numerical sequences. Your consciousness is literally magnetic, drawing these divine messages into your awareness. When you see repeating numbers, angel numbers, or even random sequences that feel significant, your soul is receiving direct communication from higher worlds. Think about it. In a world of infinite possibilities, what are the odds that you keep seeing the same numbers over and over? Mathematically, it's nearly impossible. Spiritually, it's completely intentional. But here's where it gets really interesting. The numbers that show up for you are uniquely yours. While 111 might be telling your friend to start fresh, 555 could be preparing you for a major life transformation. Your personal numerical signature is as unique as your fingerprint, as specific as your DNA. Every number carries a vibration. Every sequence holds a message. Every pattern reveals a piece of your divine puzzle. When you start seeing 222, the universe is asking you to trust the process and find balance. When 333 appears, your spiritual guides are confirming you're on the right path. When 444 surrounds you, you're being reminded that you're protected and supported. But here's the secret that changes everything. The more attention you pay, the clearer the messages become. It's like tuning into a radio station. At first, there's static. But as you adjust the frequency, the signal becomes crystal clear. Your assignment this week isn't just to notice numbers. It's to become a conscious receiver of divine intelligence. Start a number journal on your phone. When a number catches your eye, write it down immediately. Note the time, your thoughts, your feelings in that moment. Watch for patterns. Look for repetition. Pay attention to which number shows up most frequently. Because here's what I know about you. You wouldn't have found this video by accident. You wouldn't have listened this far if your soul wasn't ready for this awakening. You're part of a growing community of spiritual seekers who understand that reality operates on multiple levels simultaneously. The physical world we see is just the surface. Beneath lies an intricate network of energy, intention, and divine communication. Numbers are the bridge between these worlds. They're the universe's way of confirming you're not alone, you're not lost, and you're exactly where you need to be. So as you go through this week, remember, every number is a note in your personal symphony. Every sequence is a sentence in your spiritual story. The universe is speaking your language, and now you know how to listen. Your numbers are waiting. Your messages are ready. The only question is, are you prepared to receive them? If this connected with your soul, there's so much more waiting for you in our other videos. We dive deep into specification of spiritual signs, share incredible viewer stories, and explore the mystical connections that shape your reality. Your spiritual journey is just beginning, and we're honored to walk this path with you. And if the universe guided you here today, show your appreciation by hitting that like button. It tells us you're ready for more divine wisdom. Subscribe to join our growing family of spiritual seekers. Because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Drop a comment below with the number that's been following you lately. Let's decode your personal message together. Trust the numbers, trust the process. Most importantly, trust yourself.